Hey everyone, welcome to Birds of a Feather. Today I'm showing you how to crochet this adorable Santa cell phone case. What you're going to need is some black, white, and red yarn, a number 5mm hook, and a 3.75mm hook. Later on I'll be showing you how to make a pom-pom, and we're going to use this serving fork to do that. Then you'll need some tapestry needles to work in the ends of your yarn, and a pair of sharp scissors, and that's to cut your thread and the pom-pom. So let's get started. We're going to start with the 5mm hook. We're going to take the end of our white. We're going to make a slip knot here. And then what we're going to do is chain 30. So this might vary depending on the size of your cell phone. You might have a wider or a narrower cell phone. So I'm just going to chain 30, and then what you're going to do is you're going to measure your chain and make sure it fits all the way around, and that it's not too tight, not too loose. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 30, then I'll meet you right back here to show you next steps. Now that we've got 30, we're just going to take this and wrap it around, making sure that it fits with a little bit of give. Now keep in mind that you're going to lose a stitch on either side when you sew the sides together, so make sure that it's got enough slack that it can easily slip in and out of your case. So now we're done with the cell phone. As we move along in the process, you'll be fitting it as you go along, just to see the number of rows that you're going to need. So now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet 29. So single crochet is just putting your hook through the loop. You're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and through 2 loops on the hook. And again, you're going to put the needle through the next loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, and through 2 loops. And just continue on that way until the end. Once we reach the end, as you'll see in a moment, we're going to chain 1 and turn. So I'm coming into the 29th stitch. I'm going to complete my single crochet. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now I'm coming back the other way, and I'm going to complete another 29 single crochets. At the end of this row, once again, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. So you're going to do that for a total of 3 rows. So at the end of 3 rows, we're going to introduce our red. And we're going to show you how to change colors so that you can create the white stripe that comes up the middle. So I'm going to stop here, meet me back here when you've got 3 rows, and we're going to bring in our red. So we're on the 3rd row and we're coming up to the 29th stitch. We're going to insert our hook as usual, pull up a loop, but we're not going to complete it. Instead, we're going to bring in our red. We're going to pull through our loop to complete that stitch. Then we're going to tighten off the white, yarn over, and chain. Then we're going to turn. So now we've got our red attached, and we're going to crochet in the front loop only. We're going to continue with single crochet. We're going to do 5. So there's 1, and again we're crocheting in the front loop only. That's 2, 3, 4, and here's our 5th. Now we're going to change the yarn to white, and we've got the white already attached. So we're just going to bring it along. So in the 6th stitch, we're going to go into the front loop, and from here on in, we're gonna be crocheting front loop only. So if I forget to mention that, just so you know, it's front loop only from here on in until we introduce our black. So we're gonna pull through our loop and change back to white on this stitch, on the 6th stitch. So yarn over with the white and pull it through. Make sure it's not too tight in the back. You're going to be carrying it along in the back. Tighten off your red. Make sure the red is in the back too. You're always carrying your yarn ends on the wrong side of the work. So now we're going to single crochet 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to change colors again, so we're going to go into the 4th stitch here, pull up our loop, drop the white, we're going to pick up the red in the back here, yarn over and through both loops on hook. Then we're going to tighten the white and continue on with the red, and again front loop only. We're going to continue single crocheting to the end of the row, and at the end of every row, as we always do, we're going to chain 1 and turn. So this is 3. So here we are at the 19th stitch. We're going to complete our single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Try not to get your yarn tangled. So we're going to make our way back, and again we're only crocheting in the front loop only. So let's make our way back until it comes time to change over to the white again. So if you want to count stitches, 19. On the 19th stitch, you're going to drop the red, you're going to pick up the white and bring through that white loop. Tighten off your red, continue on with the white for 3 stitches, one, 2, 3. On the 4th stitch, we're just going to pull up our white loop, but then we're going to drop the white, and when you drop it, ensure that you're dropping it to the wrong side of the work. You're going to pick up the red and bring through that loop. Tighten up your white and continue on with the red to the end of the row. So let's just count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1 and turn your work. And that's how you introduce the colors. So you're going to continue on in this fashion for a total of 6 rows. And then we're going to start our black belt buckle. So meet me back here when you've reached 6 rows, and I'll show you how to introduce the black. I chained 30, and then in the white I did 3 rows of single crochet. Then I switched over to red, and for the red, from here on in until we reach the black, we're working in the front loop only. Then we're switching, after 6 stitches, we're going to switch to our white, do 3 white, and then continue on the row in single crochet, working the front loop only. I worked that for 6 rows. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to black for several rows. We're going to crochet his belt and add this belt loop. Now before we join the black, so we've got our last single crochet here. We're just going to undo that so that we've got our 2 loops. Then we're going to bring on our black, bring it through, tighten this up, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet, and we're going to turn. You'll notice that I left a tail that we can weave in later. Let's just get our yarn all organized here. Don't want to get twisted up. Now we're going to work into the second loop on our hook, and we're going to single crochet through both of these double loops here. So we're just going to single crochet all the way across to the end of the row. Then when we get there, we're going to complete our last single crochet. We're going to do a chain stitch and turn. We're going to continue on with black, I don't know, maybe for about 5 rows or so. We'll see how it looks. And I'll show you exactly how to reintroduce the red and the white and how to change colors. And again, I just want to reiterate that when we're working on the red and white, we're only working into the front loop, as opposed to here, we're working into both the front and back loops of the stitch. So I'm just about at the end of the row here. Now, if you want to count it, you should have 29 stitches. Last stitch is a single crochet, chain 1, and we're going to turn and continue on in that manner. Okay, we've completed 5 rows of our black. So now we're just going to take the end of the yarn and just slip knot it, fasten it off. Now we're going to come back in with our red. So our red is currently right here at the side. We're just going to bring it up the side here, just loop it. Chain 1. Oh, and again, we're only working in the front loops. So we're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now on the 6th stitch, that's where we're going to change colors. So we're going to come into the front loop here. We're going to pull through our loop, but we're not going to complete our single crochet because this is where we're going to switch to the white. So we're just going to carry it up the back and bring the white through. And then we'll just tighten off this red end here. So we're going to crochet 3. And again, we're only working in the front loops. This yarn tends to split, so is just a little more difficult to work with. So there's one. There's two. There's three. And again, we're going to change colors. So we're going to pull up our loop, but then we're going to drop the white. We're going to pick up the red, and we're changing colors. So we're bringing that loop through. Tighten up the white, and we're continuing on with the red. We're going to continue crocheting in the front loop only. So that's 1, 17, 18, now on the 19th stitch here, again we're changing colors, so we're going to pull up 2 loops, we're going to drop the red, pick up the white, bring it through, tighten up that red, then we're going to crochet 3 white stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Again, don't forget you're only crocheting in the front loops. Now we're going to do a color change again, so we're going to come into that stitch, pull up our loop, drop the white, pick up the red, and complete our stitch. And again, tighten up the white, and continue on with the red. So again, front loop only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1 and turn. As you can see, we've got the continuation of our white stripe coming up the front. So we're going to continue on in that manner. Let's just take a look at the phone. So this is an old iPhone. I think it's a 6 Plus. We're just going to fit it over. Before I complete the rest of my rows to the top of my cell phone, I'm going to show you how to do this belt buckle here. So that's what it's going to look like. And I'm using a 5mm hook here, number 5 hook. Now I'm going to leave a long tail so that I can stitch it on. So we're going to slip knot. I'll just set this aside for now. So we're going to chain 19. So we've got our 19 stitches. Now we're going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets in that stitch. So 1 and 2. That's going to allow us to turn the corner, as you'll see later. Now we're going to single crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. In the next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to single crochet 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and single crochet twice in the next stitch. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to single crochet 3, so 1, 2, and 3, and finally in the last stitch we're going to single crochet 2, so 1 and 2. Now you can see your buckle forming right here, just like that. So to complete this, we're just going to slip stitch into that last stitch. Then we're going to knot this and cut. And then stitch it on once we're done the rest of our rows. So meet me back here when I'm at the top. We're going to stitch on the belt buckle, and then we're going to complete our cozy by stitching up the bottom and the sides. We've done 12 rows of our red and white stripe, and now we're going to take the opportunity to put on our belt buckle. So your particular cell phone may be a different fit. You might have more rows, you might have less. So let's set that aside. Open this up. Now again, we left a long tail so that we could stitch this. So I'm just going to come through to the back. Try to keep your other yarns out of the way. So I've got my working yarn here. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch around the perimeter. I'm just coming through the loops here. Try not to split your yarn as you come through. Now that you have your perimeter done, you're going to do the same thing with the inside. You're just going to come right around, squaring off the corners as you go. So I'm going to complete this step off camera, and then when we're back we're going to complete our cozy. We're going to do a little bit of a closure here. I just want to show you this other cell phone case that I did. It's Santa inspired. We've got this really nice texture here. Now the closure comes up and over and buttons with a pom-pom, and it's very reminiscent of Santa's hat. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to set this aside, finish this. Once you're done, you're just going to knot your tail end here. And then you're just going to weave it. Okay, just weave in the end and cut it off. And now we're going to continue on with our red. At this point, I'm going to cut the white yarn. We're going to weave that in later. So I can just knot this. And then I'll take the needle and just weave that in. Now we're going to continue on with our red. And unfortunately, I caught the red with the yellow, so as I crochet, I'm going to have to pull it through there so I can continue working with it. I'll just pull some through so I've got slack. There's always a way to troubleshoot. So, there. So we're going to finish off this row by chaining one and turning. Now at this point, I'm going to go back to crocheting through both loops. Instead of just the front loop, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to single crochet all the way across. And we're picking up both loops, not just the front. So we're going to crochet to the end of this row, and as usual we're going to chain one and turn around, and then we're going to start forming our little hat that comes over to close the phone case. Last stitch, chain one, and we're going to turn. Before we do that, I'm just going to show you what we're going to be doing. So we're only going to crochet to the halfway point. So we're going to fold our work. Now we're going to single crochet across until we reach that halfway point. So we're on our third stitch, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we're going to chain one and turn. I just want to mention that I did rip out the hat, and I took it down to only 13 stitches because it just sits much better on the phone. So turn around, and we're only working on these particular stitches now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 12.
We're going to stop short of the 13th stitch here.
Now on this end, instead of chaining one and turning, we're just going to turn. Then we're going to come back and we're going to single crochet to the end. So 1. Now when we come to this end, we are going to chain one and turn.
So this time we're going to single crochet 10.
So here we go. 1, 2. Again, stopping short of that last stitch. We're not going to chain stitch. We're just going to merely turn and come back. So single crochet across. 1, 2. Chain one and turn.
Now we're going to come back and single crochet 8.
And then we're going to turn
and single crochet 7.
Chain one and turn. Now I just want to show you how this is going to look. You'll have your cell phone in there. This will come down. and it's going to form a point. So we're going to continue on in that manner for as many rows as it takes. We're going to come to a point, then we're going to single crochet down the side just to neaten up this edge. You can see it's a little bumpy here, so we're going to single crochet, and that will neaten up this edge as you see on this one. So again, on this side we've done our chain stitch, and we're going to turn and continue on. So meet me back here once you've come to the end. So we're coming to the end of our hat, and we just completed 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 1. We're going to crochet 1 and 2. We're going to turn our work again. We're going to single crochet 1, and now what we're going to do is single crochet down this slanty edge here. So we're going to chain 1, so again come through, complete your single crochet, come over to the next one and single crochet, and just continue down this edge. You're just neatening off that edge. And again, you're trying to come through double loops where you can find them. So there you go. You've got your edge here, nicely finished off. What we're going to do is we're going to put right sides together. You might want to pin this. So line up your stripes, insert a pin here. And basically you're going to single crochet all the way down, and you're going to join up. Now what you might want to do is get a smaller hook. This is a little bit too thick, so I'm going to go grab a smaller hook. We're going to single crochet, and then when we get to the black, you might want to take the tail end here and use that to complete the black, continue on in the red, and do the same with the white if you don't want it to show. So I'm switching to a smaller hook here, and this is an F. I don't know what that translates to in mils. So this is much easier to maneuver. So as you work your way down, just be sure to work through both layers. Inserting the hook where you can. Some areas might be a little tight, but that's why this smaller hook is much better for this task. So we're just single crocheting all the way across to close up our little cozy here. Now as we approach this black area, you might want to switch over. I'll just take a last stitch here. I'm going to drop that and pick up the black and make sure I'm still lined up. Now you can turn it inside out just to make sure you're looking okay. And I didn't capture that thread here, so I might want to undo that and just try that again. As you can see, I've got the red that I carried up the side showing through, and I do not want that, so I'm just going to back this off and we're going to give this another try. And this time we're just going to be a little bit more diligent that we don't leave that red yarn on the right side. So I've located that red, I've got it out of the way. I'm going to pick up my crochet hook once again. I'm going to insert into a stitch here, bring that through and single crochet. Again, I'm going to come through and make sure I'm capturing that thread right in the middle. Sandwich it right in there. And again. There we go. Once again, I'll fasten that off. And let's take a look. And there you go. You can't see a thing. So I'm going to continue on with my red. I'm just going to bring it right across. Now I just have a gap right here. So I'm going to come in, close that off. Now if you want, you can just single crochet right through, or not even single crochet, you can just slip stitch right through the stitches you did in black. And you don't need all 2 loops, you can just do it in a single loop here. So I'm just slipping right across. There, a couple of slip stitches. And again, get all this out of the way. I'm going to line up the white here, put my pin back in, to help me crochet evenly to that point. We're going to continue with single crochet. There we go. Make sure nothing's in the way. Come through both thicknesses. Okay, you can remove the pin now. Now, I'm just going to switch over. I'm going to pull it through these 2 red colors here. I'll tighten that up. And we're going to continue on with the white. Make sure you're lined up. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to single crochet twice into the corner here, and we're going to turn. Now this tail we're going to crochet in to hide it. So we're just going to come through, just single crochet right around that. So before you get too far, just turn your work inside out to inspect and make sure you're getting it closed well and it's looking good. So I always like to double check before I move on with anything. So our red is done. We're gonna cut our yarn, leave a tail so that we can weave it in. We can now get rid of the red. And again, don't forget we caught it in here, so we're just gonna pull it through. And there, we're done with the red, and let's finish off our white. So our white is almost complete, and we're working in the tail end. We're just carrying it right along and capturing it, sandwiching it in as we single crochet. We're just about at the end. There we go, that's it. So now we can cut our white yarn. We can pull that tail end through. Now we're going to take a needle. And this is just a tapestry needle, so to thread it, you're just going to fold it over the tip, squeeze that together, and the eye is rather large. You are just going to rub it along and push it through. And there you go. Now we're just going to come back and weave this along. And I like to double back so it can't loosen up. So I'm just going to come through as so. Now I can cut that and weave in the rest of these. And then we'll turn this inside out and we'll finish off with our pom-pom here at the tip. Before I show you how to make a pom-pom for the end of this little hat here, I'm going to neaten up this edge too. So I've just got my yarn and I've got a slip stitch here. I'll just tighten that up. And I've left myself a tail. I'm just going to slip that through right here, just at the end here. Now I'm just going to come along and single crochet right along that edge to neaten it up. And in this instance, I can crochet in the tail. So I'm just sandwiching it in as I single crochet across. There's the tail. And again, this yarn just loves to split, so it just takes a little bit more patience to work with it. This is just cheap dollar store yarn. And this probably is an instance of you get what you pay for. And the last stitch I just did, I'm just going to do 2 single crochets. If I can get the hook back in. There. So once again, I'm going to cut a tail. So there we go, a nice neat edge. And that's going to come down as so. And we're going to make ourselves a little pom-pom to go on the end. We're going to use the same yarn, this white here. So I'm just going to get set up to show you how to make the pom-pom. And then we'll be back to finish this. Now the other thing you might want to do is just add a little red button. And you can position it just right there, just to hold it when the cell phone is in place. So I want to get a lot of yarn. What I'm going to use is this serving fork. So let's just find the end. I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece off, and that's for later. So I'm going to wrap this about 60 to 80 times. That's about 60. Let's do 80. Okay, so there's 80. I'm going to take this other piece of yarn and I'll just bring it up through the center here. I'm just wrapping it twice, and then I'm going to tie it as tight as I can. And let's do a double knot. I'm going to come through again, weave that through the middle to the other side. And once again, I'm going to tie it tightly. And I'll double knot that. Okay, now that that's done, we can slip it right off. We've got this little bundle, and I'm just going to take my scissors and cut. Let's just cut that off. We're just going to come along right through the middle here and snip this open. These scissors don't appear to be the sharpest, so I'll probably just go grab another pair. So let's see if this does a better job. Just come in through the other side here and do this. And make sure you've got all the loops cut. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, make sure all the loops are cut here. Okay, so we've got our pom-pom cut. We're just going to go ahead and trim it. As you can see, it's fairly uneven. So we're just going to cut it into a circular shape here. We'll just spread it out. Come along with the scissors, and this is going to be a little bit messy. Just going to cut it into a circle. Now that that's done, we're going to come the other way and flatten it out this way. Then we're going to do the same thing, just making sure it's in a circular shape. Okay, so that's fairly circular. Then we're just going to take it and shake it out. And again, we're just going to trim off any outliers here. And again, we're just going to fluff it up and just trim anything that looks a little bit too long. That's where the strands really come in handy. I mean, it's a pain to crochet with, but the strands do come apart nicely for these pom-poms here. So there, that's looking pretty good, and that's how it's going to look on the phone.
When stitching on a button, you want to make sure you have a long enough shank, and as you can see here, I've left a length of thread. I haven't stitched the button tight to the fabric here. So I'm going to come through and then come down the other side. And then I'm going to stitch across. And when I do that, I'm going to ensure that I don't tighten that. I'm going to leave it loose. I hope you can see this. So let me just point to this because it's red and it's the same yarn. So here it is. It's just loose. So I'm going to do that a few times. Come up the other side of the hole. Go back down. Again, come across. I think one more time should do it. Hold on to your button. Now what you're going to do is take the yarn and you're going to wrap it several times. So when you wrap it, you want to do that very tightly. You want it tight around the shank. There you go, it's wrapped. We're going to come up to secure it, back down again, and then we're going to come through underneath, now I'm going to cut that and weave the ends into the back, and then to secure it you're just going to pop it through the crochet like so.
Now we're just going to use our crochet hook, let's get the smaller one here, to come through the end. And we're going to bring one side through. And we're going to tie that on. And then we're going to knot that a few times. And there you go, we're all done. So I'm just going to tie in all the loose ends.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed how to crochet the Santa cell phone case. For more crochet ideas, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications of our upcoming projects.